Shalawam, sisters. Kohalo Yahweh, Bahashim, Hamashiach, Wamalaki, Hawashai. The water so much for watching this channel. Lord willing, these videos are helpful to y'all. Today's topic, obviously, like the title says, pregnancy, dealing with pregnancy struggles and not being barren as an Israelite woman. This topic, I'm bringing this topic out because a sister asked me about it, and then I deal with another sister. Then another sister left a comment about it, and so it's just sisters obviously been coming out about it, and I was like, why not do a video on it? So I wrote all my notes down today. I went to the park, finished it, and after I was finished all my notes for this video, a sister asked under one of my videos, she said, can I do a video about pregnancy struggles? And I said, wow, that's the spirit. I just got finished gathering all the things that I needed to gather to do my video today. So I said I was going to post a video. So Lord willing, I could post this by 12 o'clock, have this video up for y'all to watch in the morning, Lord willing. So first and foremost, let's get into this picture. I just want to bring out, before I get into this video, just sister etiquette. You know, when I was in the world, I didn't really give too much thought about sisters not being able to have children and what sisters go through, because I guess I was so young, I never really thought about it. But, you know, being older in the truth, and it even happening to me, because I went through situations where I had a miscarriage, just like many other Israelite women had miscarriages and periods of time where you wanted to have a baby and, you know, it didn't work out for you at the moment. Sisters go through it all the time. So, you know, for sisters to ask questions like, hurry up and get a baby, oh, you don't want children, you be such a great mom, or when you getting pregnant, or are you pregnant, or when you having children, or don't keep us waiting too long. Those are things that you got to kind of refrain from saying to your sister, just out of being respectful and being mindful that you really don't know what that sister going through, because a lot of sisters don't really share and are not going to really share all the things that they're going through, because they still want to be strong, that strong, righteous example, and don't want to come off as being weak. And a lot of sisters feel like it's private, it's between them, their husband, and the Most High. So you got to be really mindful when it comes to asking sisters questions. And pregnancy and children, those one of the things that you shouldn't really bring up if you see a sister that's not really with child, because you don't really know what that sister is going through, and you don't want to vex that sister at the end of the day. So now that we got an understanding on that, Lord willing, let's jump into the video. So your husband is going to go through it too. You know, just because you're not able to get pregnant and your husband, isn't carrying a baby, you know, your husband still wants a child too. If y'all are trying together, you know, it's just not about you that's not able to have a baby. It's him too. So you can't, you know, get mad at him or take it out on him or get upset. Y'all gotta uplift each other in a righteous spirit. All right? And have faith. And when you read Genesis, Genesis, the 15th chapter, even Abraham said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? Thou hast given me no seed and no heir. So obviously it was on Abraham's mind for him to even say that. He went childless for a period of time. He had no seed and no heir to give all his things to give knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to. But Abraham, I'm sure, because he was a righteous man, had faith that Yahweh would bless him with a child. And when you read Genesis, the 18th chapter, Abraham and Sarah were old, stricken in age. And it ceased to be well with Sarah after the manner of women. So Sarah was an old woman. She was older. And Sarah laughed within her mind, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also. Because when you read Genesis, the 18th chapter, the Lord and two angels came down and pretty much visited Abraham and Sarah and told Abraham, look, Sarah going to have a baby. But Sarah laughed in her mind and said, look, she was like, I'm not about to have a baby. I'm old as hell. What are you talking about? That's probably what she did. You know, Eve. And the Lord said unto Abraham, he didn't even say to Sarah. He didn't even address Sarah at this point. He said unto Abraham, why Sarah laugh? Saying, shall I of a surety bear a child when I'm old? Then he said, is anything too hard for the Lord? He said, at the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall bear a son. So after that, Sarah ain't had no choice but to have faith. Because when Sarah said, why, when the Lord said, Sarah, why you say that? Why you laugh? She said, no, I didn't. He said, no. He said, nay, but you did. After that, she was scared because she got scared. So she pretty much got scared into having more faith. When she seen that the Lord read her mind, she probably was like, look, he said I'm about to have a baby. I'm going to have a baby. I'm old. It's going to happen. That's probably what she was thinking. She probably was like, look, all right, he said it. I gotta have faith and I gotta believe it. Just like when you say a prayer, you gotta have faith and you gotta believe it. You gotta believe that it's gonna happen, like Yahushua been saying. Is anything too hard for the Lord? And then move on to Genesis, the 12th chapter. The Lord visited Sarah, and she bare Abraham a son, Isaac, and they was both old. So the Most High did it when He was ready for them to have a baby, not when they was ready, not when they felt like they was ready. So you gonna have a baby when the Most High feel like He ready for you to have a baby. You could be 40 years old, 50 years old, 32, 31. You never know. Could be next month. It's all up to the Most High. You got to trust in His plan. And you got to have patience. Like the scriptures say, you got to let patience possess your souls. And then when you move on to Genesis, the 25th chapter, Isaac was 40 years old. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. So Rebekah was barren as well. So obviously Isaac and Rebekah had faith that they could conceive a child. You know they had faith. They was righteous. Abraham and Sarah, they were righteous. You gotta pray. Ask your husband if y'all could sit down and fast and pray on it, so the Most High can really hearken into y'all prayers, so y'all can conceive. That's number one. And you gotta have faith. Like Yahushua said, when you say a prayer, you gotta believe it. You gotta believe that it's actually gonna happen. Then when you go to Genesis, the 29th chapter, remember Rachel was barren too. And Rachel envied her sister. So you're going to have, it's the same thing that's going to happen now. All of this was written aforetime for our learning. So you're going to have that same spirit of envy try to jump on you. Because, you know, other people having children and you may not be able to have children. Don't let that spirit try to jump on you. You're going to have to rebuke that spirit. Ecclesiasticus, Salakia 26:6 says, but a grief of heart and a sorrow is a woman that is jealous over another woman. That's a sad thing to, you know, you grieved and jealous over another woman because, you know, the Most High blessed her when He wanted her to have a baby. You know, the Most High not ready right now for you to have a baby. So now you like, oh, when is it going to happen to me? And now you're getting jealous. And if you watch my jealousy video, you'll see I even brought out a topic about women being jealous over another woman because she couldn't have. You don't want to be that. The Most High give you over to reprobate mind. Next thing you know, you cutting open a woman's stomach because you want to take the baby from her. That actually happened to sisters. That's a wicked spirit to have. So as soon as you feel like you may be getting jealous of a sister, rebuke that spirit off of you. Even if you got to fast it off, pray it off, you got to get that spirit away from you because that's a real wicked spirit. And jealousy, you know, it can kind of go into covetousness. And that's breaking the law. So you gotta rebuke that spirit right away. That envy spirit that Rachel had on her, I'm pretty sure she had to rebuke it too. Alright? God remembered Rachel. He hearkened to her and He opened her womb. So the key point is that He remembered her. He ain't gonna forget you. Right? If you pray, if you're doing the right things, He not gonna forget you. He gonna do it. He gonna give you a baby when He ready to. It says God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her and opened her womb, and she conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. So Rachel had to go through trials and tribulations. She had to deal with envy. She had to deal with her sister having Leah having all of these children, and she not being able to have children. Imagine how vexing that is. Y'all, they sharing the same husband. How much more you? What makes us think that we so special that we not going to go through the same things that our foremothers and forefathers went through? And they was righteous. They grew up in the law. Look at us. We just getting into the truth. We ain't grow up in this. Here we are in captivity, going through the same thing that they went through. But we got the scriptures, like I always say, the scriptures were written aforetime for our learning, that we may have hope, so that sisters have hope. All of this stuff about women being barren was written aforetime so that you have hope through the scriptures. And like I said, God remembered Rachel. So let's say a sister watching this and your name, Amawanya. God gonna remember you, Amawanya, and hearken to you, and open your womb, and conceive and bear a child. And then you're gonna be like, God, take away my reproach, because you're gonna have faith. And you're gonna believe in a prayer that you prayed up to the Most High. You're gonna fast on it, you're gonna pray on it, everything. You gotta have faith that everything that you ask for is gonna happen. Ask and you shall receive. Moving on. Just like the Lord told Abraham and Sarah, is anything too hard for the Lord? No, not at all. Not at all. The Most High do what He want to do. He'll bless you with a baby when He's ready to. Our time is not always the right time. What do we know? Well, moving on to 1 Samuel. So you had Hannah and Peninnah. And remember, when you read 1 Samuel, Hannah had no children, but Peninnah had children. And the Lord shut up Hannah's womb. And Hannah's adversary, which was Peninnah at the time, and which also spiritually can be Satan. So you could be a sister, and your adversary Satan can provoke, like the scripture says, it said provoked her sore because the Lord shut up her womb. So you could be a sister, and it's going to be spirits that provoke you sore because the Lord shut up your womb at the time. You're going to have a spirit of anger, doubt, depression, sadness, envy. You got to remember that's Satan that's trying to get to you to try to sift you out, take away your faith, and everything like that. You got to rebuke those spirits right away. As soon as you start feeling any of those spirits, be like, no, get away from me. Get out of here. I rebuke you in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You got to get away from me. Look, I'm not dealing with you right now. And I'm pretty sure Hannah, she was a righteous woman. She probably did the same thing. If she was getting provoked, if it says her adversary provoked her sore, so if Peninnah was provoking her sore because the Lord shut up her womb, I know she was going through it. That was just a spirit trying to get to her. Because that spirit that Peninnah had on her knew that the Lord was going to bless her with a son. Knew who her son was going to be. And knew the example that Hannah was going to set for us. So you got to rebuke these spirits, because these spirits know what they be doing. But you got to rebuke them. And if you look at 1 Samuel, that first chapter, Hannah was going through it. She wept. She didn't eat. She was grieved. But Hannah had faith and prayed and wept to the Lord. And she vowed a vow and said, Lord of hosts, if thou wilt look unto thy affliction of the handmaid, and remember and forget not thy handmaid, but will give thy handmaid a child, then will I give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. So Hannah poured her soul before the Lord. Hannah begged the Most High for a son, and she said, I'm going to give him over to you. She wasn't playing. She was like, look, as long as I bear a child, I don't care if he's gonna be in a temple all his life. I just need take away my reproach. I just need a child. And that's something that y'all, we, not just y'all, I myself too, as Israelite women, this is something that I learned from when I think I was pregnant with my son at this time, and I was like, dang, the Most High was able to bless me with a child. I got to give him to the Lord too. So you got to always say the prayer that Hannah said. You got to be mindful of that. Say, look, I'm willing to give my child to you, meaning that your child going to grow up in the law, statutes, and commandments. They're not doing none of these pagan holidays, nothing. To the best of your ability, you got to raise your child up to be righteous. And remember when Hannah had poured her soul out before the Lord, Eli the priest said, go in peace, and the God of Israel will grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And afterwards, she ate, she felt better, she wasn't sad anymore. But Hannah conceived and bare her son Samuel. And Samuel was a very righteous man. Understand that. She got Samuel after all she went through. It don't tell you all that her foremothers went through. It might tell you she was envied. She envied her sister. It might say, oh, she was provoked sore. She wept, she cried, but they went through it. Just like if you going through it too, they went through the same thing that you went through. If they could get through it and conceive a child, why can't you? You know what I mean? Especially if you're doing the right thing. So let's move on. Now we're going to move on to Samson. When you read Judges, the 13th chapter, a certain man of Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren, and she bare not. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, behold, now thou art barren, and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. So look, why is it that all of these women are barren in the scriptures? Why is that? Because it was written aforetime for our learning that you as an Israelite woman have to have hope and faith, have children. So let's finish moving on. And the angel said, and he shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. So there you go. All these women barren. Women gave birth to prophets and leaders through faith. And we're about to go to one of my favorite chapters in this whole discussion. Is Luke, the first chapter. Zacharias and Elizabeth, they were both Levites, and they were both righteous before God, walking in the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, blameless. And they had no child, because Elizabeth was barren, and they both were well stricken in years, so they both was old. But let's get to the point that they were righteous before Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and they were walking in the commandments and ordinances. So they was keeping all the feast days. They was keeping all the commandments. They was blameless. They had charity. They had faith. They was an upright couple, a righteous example. And they were older, well stricken in years. And that's another point. The scripture's saying, Most High give you baby when he wants to. He could be old as hell. He gonna give you a baby. We still look good when we older. Whether the doctor say, oh, well, it's a high-risk pregnancy because you know this and no, forget about that. Forget about all of that. The Most High was giving Israelites babies when they was older, and they was still giving birth to healthy babies. So no, don't, look, even if you have a baby when you're 35, when you're 40, that's when the Most High wants you to have a baby. And look, this was a righteous couple. Blameless. You gotta ask yourself, are you blameless? Are we blameless? You know what I mean? How much more us? The Most High put them through this. What will make us so different? We gonna have to go through it too. And they was blameless. They didn't have their baby till they was old. So Zechariah, he was a Levite, like I brought up before, and he burned incense into the temple of the Lord. That was his job. And the angel of the Lord stood on the right side of the altar and said, fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard. And thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John. And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. And the angel said, and many of the children of Israel shall he turn to their Lord, turn to the Lord their God, and he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make a people prepare for the Lord. Guess I can get into my story about overcoming not being able to have children. And with my husband and I, when we first got together, we wanted to have a baby so bad. We was like, oh, okay, we're going to have a baby, we're going to have a baby, we're going to have a baby. And we were so excited when we got pregnant. And we picked out names and taking little belly bumps and stuff, baby bumps of the, belly growing and stuff. It was real excited. Like, it was like, a real happy moment in our life. And it was the day we went to go check the baby's heartbeat. It was an Edomite first. We went to some little place. The lady said, oh, I can't find a heartbeat. She was like, go to the hospital. And it was all spiritual, because I feel like we was in a damn room with Satan. When I was getting my heartbeat, when I was checking the baby's heartbeat the first time with her, I was like, look, we got to get out of here. So we left. I was like, I don't know what y'all talking about. We're going to go to the hospital, and we're going to see what's going on. So we get to the hospital, dealing with Africans. You know what the African lady said to me? It's no heartbeat. That's exactly how she said it. So I'm like, come on, let's leave. We left. We was sad. I don't think we said nothing the whole ride home. I think we was just sad as hell, to be honest. And we went home, sat in the shower, and I was just like, dang, this is crazy. Like, we was just heartbroken. And I remember the next day, and even right away, while I was sitting in the shower, I just knew. I knew that it was because the Most High did that for a reason. And I was telling my husband the next day, I said, I feel like the Most High is doing this so that we can get stronger in the truth. And I feel like he's doing it so we can get stronger and get closer together. And that even goes into the scriptures. That even goes into the Ecclesiasticus scripture, when it tells you to be continually with a godly man, that he should be with thee, whose mind is like your mind, and he should be with you when you miscarry. So that goes into that scripture. And I think that experience really made us stronger and wiser in the truth, and made us understand that things are going to happen when the Most High want them to happen, not when we want them to happen. So we went a period of time where we didn't conceive a child at all. And we had faith, and I knew in my spirit, I said, I know I had faith, and I truly believed in the Most High that he would bless us with a child. So a week after we found out that the heartbeat wasn't there anymore, it's TMI, whatever, this is Sister Channel. The video is about pregnancy problems, so I'm gonna just bring it out. So I ended up passing the baby on my own, and I thought that I was okay because I was passing the baby on my own. I was like, look, all right, so I don't need to go to the hospital. It happened. I thought, I was fine, but I wasn't fine. So I think that next week, or a couple days later, or the next week, I can't remember when, but I ended up getting really, really sick. And I don't even remember what my temperature was. I think it was like maybe 106 or 108. So my husband that morning, he was like, look, do you want me to take you to the hospital? And I said, no, I'm fine. Meanwhile, I'm owning and groaning, tossing and turning, and I'm thinking I just have like a flu or something. So he's like, no, come on, let's get up and go to the hospital. So we get to the hospital. I forgot what they said my temperature was exactly, but it was like they rushed me. They was like, we're glad that you came in. Like, you were literally about to die if you didn't come in. And it was like they rushed me into surgery. So I had to get surgery. And mind you, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, my husband, he had to call out of work. He probably was like, what's going on? So we like, surgery, whatever. It would just all happen so fast. And I remember all I kept thinking was like, dang, they were saying I was about to die. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's the most hobby that he even took me here, because if I would have stayed home, I would have passed out and something would have happened to me. I probably would have been dead. So it was just crazy. And I remember after I got the surgery, I asked the doctor, I was like, so am I going to be able to have children after this? And she said, I'm not sure. I don't know. And then I was like, you know what? The Most High is going to restore me. I'm going to be all right. Everything's going to be okay. And everything ended up being okay. This was the day right here. I got the picture. Hold on. Here's the picture right here. This was us in the hospital. Me waking up after my surgery. I don't know why I was throwing up the peace sign. Obviously, like, I literally looked like I just woke up. Or I was just coming out of it. But, my husband was there. It felt like a picture needed to be taken. I don't know. But, I look back on this and I'm like, dang, like, that's crazy. We went through that. We was babies. We was like 23. We was 23 at the time. Now we 28. And, we went from dealing with that situation and then not being able to, conceive. But we had faith. And the Most High blessed us with, a son. The only 3, he knows how, but since he's 2, he knows how to read stuff. He knows how to write really well. He knows the Hebrew alphabet. He knows the English alphabet. He knows a little bit of math. The spirit that he has on him is like the spirit of just like somebody from the ancient world. And I just know it. I just feel it in my spirit. This is Isaiah. He's 3 now. Strong little man. Out with the brothers teaching at camp. With the men, there's Isaiah right there. And all of this stuff that I'm showing y'all, he does this on his own. Him open up this Bible, he did that on his own. And it's spiritual to me. I think that's why I like Luke the 1st chapter so much, because I feel like when the angel said to Zacharias, when the angel said to Zacharias, that their son was going to come back with the spirit and power of Elijah. It's like, you don't know who your child is, who the Most High can bless your child to come back as. You don't know what type of spirit they're going to have on them. Most High could be putting you through a tribulation to build you up so you can have a strong spirit to deal with a strong person in the truth. That's when he was a baby. He was just going through the books and stuff. Picked up the Apocrypha. This is him right here. Saying a little prayer in Hebrew, trying to say a prayer in Hebrew. He do all the stuff on his own. He had a little Hebrew rap. He a strong baby in the truth. And I know it's spiritual because Isaiah just does spiritual crazy stuff that like we're like, what is he doing? Like every time he'll light an incense, he'll go over it and pray over it. And pray over the incense. I'm trying to find a video. Here you go, I wrote this on Instagram. Feeling extremely blessed to the Most High for blessing us with such an amazing little boy. His zeal is so powerful for a 2-year-old. He runs around screaming Kwam Yasharala all throughout the day. I'll randomly catch him praying when we light an incense, and he hasn't learned that from anyone. He insists on saying prayers over and over, one more time. LOL. He will cover his sister's head and randomly pray. He loves to read and write and say both Hebrew and English alphabets, and will even describe a chariot to you. I've never met someone so spiritual, so young. He even told me Yahweh was watching him. That's amazing, and he truly leaves me confounded. Kohalo Yahweh Shemihal Shai, that we as parents are given the opportunity to raise our children up like the days of old, understanding their nationality and heritage, and what to stand for in righteousness, and not to be niggas, but king and priests and princes that was ordained by the Lord. Yep, this is little baby Zay Zay. You know, This is the first little garment I tried to make him. But you know, you never know who the Most High gonna allow you to give birth to. You know what I mean? You could be giving birth to, if you believe in regeneration and spirits coming back. You know, you never know who you're gonna give birth to. Most High could be preparing you to give birth to a righteous prophet. As you can see, all the righteous prophets, parents have to go through trials and tribulations, right? Then they give birth to a son. Then the firstborn end up, you know it's real when you give up, when your firstborn is a son. So you gotta praise the Most High when you're at a low estate, when you don't have the child, and praise him afterwards when he do bless you with that child. But you gotta always have faith that he's gonna give you what you asking for. And I'm a prime example of that. As well as many other sisters that you can talk to that been through it. It's not going to happen. It didn't happen when we wanted it to happen, but it happened when we needed it to. And let me tell you, my son, really, right after he was born, it was like the Most High just put the spirit on us to really, I was like, look, I felt like my son was so special that I had to do everything that I needed to do to teach him to be everything that I wasn't, to be righteous. I feel like I needed to go all out for the Most High. I told the Most High I was going to give my son to him. So that's when he was born, that's when I said, damn, I really got to get down to it. So I stopped wearing pants, started wearing fringes. We started just keeping the laws more than what we did in the past. Like, we just went harder. It's like we got so much stronger because it's like the Most High put the spirit on us to want to raise him up righteously. So you got to trust in the Most High's plan. Most High, even though we felt like we was ready to have a baby when we wasn't ready. So just because you feel like you ready, that don't mean the Most High wants you to have a child at that moment, at this very moment. You got to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. And don't go out and try to get no IVF, those intro, whatever it is, when they try to take the sperm and then take an egg out of you and put it in a petri dish and then put it back in you. That's not of the Most High. Let it come naturally. Now they do have herbs and stuff that help with fertility and stuff, but just pray to the Most High. He the only one that can get you pregnant. He the only one that can remember you. You just gotta have faith. Even when you read Hebrews 11:11, through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed and was delivered of a child when she was past age because she judged him faithful who had promised. So she had faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. You got to be still and let God do what he want to do. Then he say in Psalms, the 119th chapter, he maketh the barren woman to keep house and to be a joyful mother of children. Praise ye the Lord. Was he lying? Was they lying when they wrote that in there? This is the word of the Lord. It's not a lie. It's the truth. You got to have faith that you're going to be that barren woman to keep house and to be a joyful mother of children. And that you're going to praise ye the Lord. And like Psalms 34:15 said, the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ear is open to their cry. So you got to make sure that you keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, so that the Most High can so that the Most High can be open to your cry. All right, no IVFs, intro, in vitro fertilization and stuff. No, none of that. You gotta have faith in the Most High. Hopefully this helps some sisters. Shalawam, love y'all, and Lord willing, like I said, hopefully this helps. Don't get discouraged because you can't have a child right now. And then you do have some sisters that have had children and then got into the have children in the world, then getting the truth and can't have children, and now they going through not being able to have children. It's the same thing. You gotta have faith in the Most High. You gotta always have faith. Like Yahushua said, asking you shall receive. Knocking it should be open. It should be given unto you. And whatever you ask in prayer, you gotta believe. And once you start having doubt, the Most High not gonna want to deal with you. He gonna be like, look, I'll go move on to this next sister and this next family who got faith in me. If you don't got faith in the Most High, He ain't gonna deal with you. So you better write it down in your journal, and you better pray about it, and you better write it down on your refrigerator that I'm going to give birth to a child, say, Lord willing, when it's according to the Most High will, when it's His time. When He wants me to have a child, not when I want to. And that's something that you got to accept, and you got to praise the Most High. Ask that He look upon you, and that He hearken into your cries. You got to be like, look, Most High, I accept your judgment right now, and I pray that you make things better for me and my household, that you bless us with children. I want to give my child over to you, and I want to raise them up in the law, statutes, and commandments, like Hannah did Samuel. You know what I mean? So you always got to have faith, and you got to look at all of these stories in the scriptures. You got to look at all the stories in the scriptures and understand that all of that was written aforetime for our learning. Love y'all. Hopefully this helps some sisters. Stay strong in the spirit. Don't let these spirits try to attack. Don't let these spirits try to attack you and get to you and try to sift you out the truth. You know what I mean? Because you're not able to have children at the moment. You got to stay strong and be courageous and say, look, I rebuke you spirits. You ain't going, the spirit of depression, the spirit of sadness. Say, look, I'm not dealing with you right now. I got faith that it's going to happen when the Most High want it to happen. Understand that. All right? So love y'all. Stay strong in the spirit. And hopefully this helps some sisters. Shalawam.